Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, hello, my name is Wendy, and I am so pleased to have you here today. If you are into health, fitness, and yoga-related videos, then go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And while you're at it, go ahead and click that little bell icon to be notified every time I post, which is several times a week. So today's practice is inspired by one that I did with my client yesterday. She's been doing a lot of driving, and so, outer hips are really tight. A lot of those hip flexors are getting pretty tight. And we did a nice yin session that I thought that I would share with you guys. So we will need a few props. You're going to need blocks and a bolster. It doesn't really matter what kind of bolster you have. You could even use some pillows if that's what's available to you. As always, you can use whatever is laying around your house, but if you would like some proper yoga props, I do have a link down below that you can use, and if you use that, I do get a small commission for everything that you buy. So without any further ado, we are going to go ahead and get started. So let's start at the top of our mat. Just going to climb onto our feet. Make sure we're about hip distance apart here, maybe even a little bit wider. Really bending in the knees. Allow yourself to sway a bit as the torso descends. We can let the head be heavy here. The neck can release out long. Maybe we stay steady. I like to sway a little bit side to side, especially for these first few postures. Good. Just allowing your energy to simmer down. Coming into a state of ease and introversion. And from this place, maybe we set an intention for our practice. So this intention can be anything that resonates with us today, but allowing this intention to be in the form of a statement, beginning with the word I. I am connected. I am at peace. Or really anything else that calls to you. Allowing these words to stick with you as you practice, as you move and as you breathe and as we come into stillness. Allowing this intention to link the body to the mind, amplifying all the benefits of our practice. From here, let's inhale to a halfway lift. We can kind of wiggle ourselves around a bit. Really step into your right foot. Send the left leg back behind you. Both of our hands are going to come to the inside of that right leg, and we're going to start to utilize our props here. So using both our bolster and our blocks. So we're going to set up our bolster. So it's relatively underneath our hip. So from here, if we're really lifted, we can just squeeze this bolster back so it's supporting that back leg. We don't have to be really deep in the pose in order to utilize the props. If you're a little bit more open, obviously we can raise the bolster a little bit closer towards the hips, but they're supporting us here. Our hands coming to the inside. Our blocks can be at the medium setting, even higher if that's what feels good for you. Spend a moment or two here lifted, just preparing the body for this deep hip stretch. With yin yoga, as with most yoga practices, we get this unique opportunity to discover the areas of tension in our body and the areas that may need a little extra work in our minds. So in our vinyasa style classes, we're usually moving, breathing the entire time. So, in that sense, it's very easy to disconnect, to kind of allow your body to take over and allow your mind to check out. Let's go ahead. If it's available to you, we can drop down to our elbows onto our block. So, still supported, just a little bit lower. As I was saying, though, with yin yoga, where we come into stillness with the body, this is often when the mind starts to act up. When we start to think about the past, think about the future, and for some reason it may be hard to land the thinking mind right into the present moment. And nothing to feel ashamed about. This is something that everyone works with, except for maybe the high monks. But even them, I'm just going to assume that they have some moments where the mind wants to flutter away. And so, just as we have a physical practice, we must also have a mental practice. So, every time that we notice our thoughts running off to the future, running off to the past, let's bring our thoughts back to the breath, back to our intention, and back into the present moment. As we're in these poses, as we're giving our hips to the earth, start to check in with your more unexpected body parts. Noticing the jaw, noticing the shoulders, just seeing if any unnecessary tension is creeping in, and consciously allowing these areas to release and let go. We have about 5 more breaths here. Closing down the eyes, maybe just keeping the gaze soft, like liquid. And when we're ready, we'll slowly start to work our way back up to the blocks, scoot them back so that we can just step our right leg back. Now we might want to take a little bit of movement here, side to side, just to release that outer hip. That's okay. And then when we're ready, let's go ahead, step our left foot forward. Set up for our lizard lunge here. So once again, we can kind of adjust, just making sure that that bolster is supporting something. It's underneath some sort of body part to give a little bit more support. It doesn't necessarily matter how high up it is. Of course, that's going to be due to flexibility. So once again, just starting nice and lifted, opening up the heart forward, getting a little bit warm into those hips, especially on this side. We can just start to notice the differences between the two sides, especially when we spend a lot of time in the right. Sometimes the left starts to feel a little bit funky when we come into it. Totally normal. Just something to acknowledge and be aware of. I believe I've said this before. I definitely say it in my in-person classes, but a advanced yogi to me is not someone who can do a handstand or the splits or really anything like that. It's someone who is so aware of their body that they know when to add a prop, when to take away a prop, when to push the body a little bit more, and maybe when to hold back. So it's not the ability to do amazing, grandiose postures. It's the ability to tell if those postures are right for you in whatever moment you are in. Let's go ahead, drop down to the forearms, to the blocks, if that seems like an accessible place for you to move. We do want to make sure that our left heel is either right underneath our left knee or in front of it. So there's plenty of room for our knees or for our hips to descend without putting any strain on the knees. Once again, connecting in with that practice of searching for the tension in the body and consciously allowing it to let go. Tension in the body is normally quite habitual, so it's not just going to be one time we release it and it's done and it's gone forever. I think it's probably going to take about 1,000,000 times for us to recognize, release, and every time the duration of that body part actually releasing and letting go will get a little bit longer. So maybe not 1,000,000 times for everyone, but I would assume it'll take a while. And that's okay. It's just starting to acknowledge and recognize where we might be imbalanced, and then moving ourselves back into that state where we can be balanced. Good. We'll take about 5 more breaths here. Asking yourself what you can let go of, whether it's physically, emotionally, spiritually. And as we're able to release and let go of those things that aren't serving us, we begin to make room and space for the things that are. Good. We'll slowly start to work our way up. And we'll go ahead and slide our foot back, meeting the right. We can give ourselves a little bit of movement here, side to side, once again. Good. And then let's just go ahead. We're going to sit on our glutes. We'll just come into the next pose. So we're going to open up our legs, maybe about 70% of what we can actually do normally. We're going to set up our bolster kind of more as a ramp. So use your blocks to build your ramp up as close as you need. If you're not going to be bowing over, completely understand. Maybe we set it up in sort of an opposite fashion, so we take our bolster, making a ramp out of it in the opposite way. So we'll just, from here, allow ourselves to melt a little bit, relax a little bit, fold a little bit. If we're going deeper, once again, we can make a high ramp, just laying our body over it. We can turn our gaze to one direction or the other. We can always go to a lower ramp if it's accessible. Only move to the point where it feels good in the body. So we don't have to push or overextend ourselves, overexert ourselves in any way. Continuing to breathe here. Breathing right into those spots that are experiencing sensation. And seeing if we could lengthen the breath. So lengthening the inhales, lengthening the exhales. And maybe even seeing if we can get the exhales to be longer than the inhales. So allowing yourself to let go of more than what you're taking in. This helps to really stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, getting ourselves into that rest and digest state of mind. This helps our body to stop the production of cortisol and adrenaline, those hormones that help manage our stress in a way that kind of stresses out our body a little bit more. And this helps us to start producing our happy hormones, hormones like serotonin and oxytocin. Let's take another 5 or so breaths here. When we feel ready, we'll gently start to climb ourselves up. We're just going to slide our legs forward once more. If we're already on the long edge of our mat, just stay there. So we're going to open up our legs and just a few windshield wipers either direction. Staying over towards the right leg, we're going to create kind of like a 90 degree angle in our legs. If this is too intense on your outer hip, bend your knee just a little bit more, taking the heel closer towards the hip bone. So once again, I like to have my ramp built. It just feels a little bit more comforting than having the bolster totally down. And we'll go ahead and lay down onto the bolster if that's accessible. Of course, you can build up your props however much you need in order to support your body in whatever way it needs. Coming back towards stillness, checking in with the mind, returning back to that intention that we set for ourselves. And maybe taking a moment to visualize yourself as this intention is manifested. So, what does it mean to be at peace? What does it mean to be connected? Or what does it mean to embody your intention? Whatever it is. Each of us tends to attach different meanings to individual words. And so, really getting crystal clear on what it is that you want to manifest by visualizing it. Good. We'll slowly lift ourselves out of that. Let's just windshield wiper our legs a few times, and then we'll end over on the left. Bring your ramp with you. So once again, just kind of 90-90 in the knees. If that doesn't feel good, then just take your heel a little bit closer towards your hip bones. Inhale for some stacking. Exhale to bow. Gazing in the opposite direction is what you did on the first side, just so that we're staying relatively balanced. Adjusting and modifying in any way that our body sees fit. Really honoring the path that the body wants to take instead of the one that the mind wants to force us into. Our mind is a powerful thing, but our body is often speaking to us. And in most cultures, I would say, we tend to ignore the signs that our body gives us. Maybe when we eat pizza or something like that, we might feel good while we're eating it, but maybe afterwards we feel a little bit sick. When we eat a salad, usually we feel really good. It's these really quite subtle signs that our body gives us that we really need to start tuning into if we want to honor the body. We want to keep using our body in a way that's sustainable. I don't want to be doing yoga until I'm 40 and get an injury. I want to be doing yoga until I'm 108. So this is, when we think about our goals, we need to think long term. Good. We'll gently start moving out of the posture. We'll send both of our legs forward. We're going to need our bolster one more time, but we can just set our blocks off to the side. So let's have our bolster on our left side. Extend the left leg, right knee into the chest, give it a squeeze. When we're ready, we're going to open up into our right arm. Inhale. As we exhale, we're going to guide our knee over towards that bolster. Allowing ourselves to ground down and twist. We can allow the left knee to bend. It's not necessary to have any rigidity through this posture. When we're ready, let's pull that knee back in. Extend the leg long. Let's just switch that bolster over to the other side. Bend the left knee into the chest. Give it a nice squeeze. When we're ready, let's open up through the left arm. Inhale. As we exhale, we're going to take that left knee over towards the right. Let it land on the bolster. Breathing in and out through the belly. Allowing for an internal massage, a little detox. And then when we're ready, we'll come back through center. Let's just allow the soles of the feet to come together. the knees to knock apart. Open up the palms, roll the shoulder blades underneath you. Supta Baddha Konasana, this will be our final resting posture. So if at any point your legs become uncomfortable, you can always straighten them out, taking a more traditional Shavasana. As we're here with every exhale, just allowing ourselves to sink a little bit deeper into relaxation, giving ourselves to the earth, feeling as it cradles and supports the body completely. You may stay in the Shavasana for however long your body needs, connecting back in with that intention before we seal our practice. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. The light that's within me honors and acknowledges the light that's within you. And from the seed, from the source, we are literally one. Namaste.